This is ThriveCasters.
Thriving, not surviving.
Tackling youth issues that matter to you.
Welcome to the latest edition of ThriveCasters. I am Aadam, and joining me is
Nathan. My social is down below.
And Jed and A, where my social was there as well.
So today we are going to be speaking about the incident which happened this week in Reading. A 13-year-old named Oliver Stevens got stabbed and lured and stabbed into a field by his girlfriend Skylar. Yesterday was a hearing, and they got Ollie's killer got sentenced 27 years, whereas Skylar got sentenced 5 years in a detention centre, and then another 18 years in a proper prison when she turns 18. So, guys, what do you think?
Well, I've actually got a few questions about it. If I'm going to say the question, and then we can all share our opinion. So, to start, it's more of a general-based question about knife crime. So, I found a fact, and it says at the end of 2020, there was around 46,000 offences, including a knife or weapon in England and Wales. So the question is, do you think that a lot of this crime is committed by younger individuals, and why?
Well, if I can share my point, personally, I think these days, knife crime and all crime with weapons is committed by younger individuals these days because they're inspired by older people and coming from everything that they've done before. And it's very common these days with everything going on and all of everything that we see on the news and death rates going up, and especially with something like this, because the culprits were 14. They're really young.
Yeah.
So my point on this is, like, it's nearly the same, but I think it's mostly inspired by UK drill music. As you can see, like, the lyrics are really violent, such as Digger D's music and Dig Dat. There's JK from Birmingham. Like, these, yeah, this could inspire young people to commit more offences like this. So there is a chance the percentage of knife crime is because of that.
See, I disagree with that. I think that, yes, it may have an impact, but I don't think that that's the main reason for all the knife crime committed by youngsters and people in general. I think that, yes, it might have an effect, but I believe that also it's down to influence of others, whether that be older gang members or friends influencing to do things that they've done, etc.
Going off what you said, you said that there is an influence there. So do you think that children are influenced by adults, so we copy their actions because obviously we wouldn't know what to do? But do you think that adults are inspired by children in this generation, copying anything that they do?
Well, I think that younger people, especially in teenage years, are kind of like finding themselves and finding out who they are. So I think that they are more encouraged to do things because they look up to people and they see what other people are doing and they think, oh, hey, I might go and do that, because they're not mature enough or they may have not found themselves yet. And I think that is an issue. Whereas the other way around, adults copying off children, I don't think we'd see that as much.
Makes sense.
So I think, like, the same. We mostly see what adults do, and we want to copy them. For example, like, you'll hear it on the news that some kids might misinterpret it and say that it's cool, to, like, for example, carry around a knife or anything like that. But they don't see the harsh reality properly through how the media, through TV.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have a question, Adam.
Yeah, I have a question. So do you think teens who commit, like, really big crimes, for example, like a stabbing, should they be doing a youth hearing or an adult hearing?
I think that the law is that they do a youth hearing, isn't it? Well, I think that knife crime is very serious because if you're not taking someone's life, you are impacting it greatly. And it's not just your life, it's other people's as well, like their family. So you're not only destroying one life, but you could be destroying 10, maybe 20. It's honestly crazy, even more than that, because if you include some of these people's friends. But I think that they should perhaps get a youth hearing, but I think that that should be more punishing, if you like. I feel like it shouldn't be as relaxed as it is because it is such a serious crime.
I think my share on it is I think they should have hearings from both adults and youth hearing because everything will be varied, so opinions on everything, and but overall it should be because knife crime is very serious and like as Nathan said, it affects many people's lives and it's very dangerous as well to keep people like that around and hearing it from the youth. People can be, what's the word, persuaded easily to think other things and the wrong thing. And obviously, we're more vulnerable to stuff if we don't, because we don't know as much as adults.
Can I just bring up a point that it was a quite a long back that there was a case including someone called John Venables. There were two little boys who went and abducted a baby, took him to a train track and killed him. They got given a adult hearing because they killed someone. However, in this case, they've killed someone, but they've been given a youth hearing, not a proper adult hearing as John Venables did.
Yeah, I think I've heard about that before, and I think
Yeah.
that didn't that influence like the law changing or something?
I think it did, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it is a severe crime, and maybe the severity of the hearing should be a lot more.
I have another question. So, like Adam said, a lot of influence for knife crime is influenced by music. But how much of it do you think is influenced by music? Like, is it all influenced by music?
Not all of
Um,
it. I would say a little bit, like a small percentage of it, because not everyone listens to certain genres.
yeah, I say it's minimal, but the words in some of the songs can have an impact on maybe some individuals, not all. I'd say a very small percentage of individuals. But yeah,
Do you think music influenced the streets or the streets influenced the music?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest.
I agree
What do you
with
think, Adam?
I agree with Nathan. It's both because, for example, there are grime artists who go off what they've seen in person and but then again, some just copy what other people say and then make that into music, and then some other people copy it, like actually do it.
I think on this question, I think that music, or no, the streets is influenced by music because the streets have been taken out of context really because obviously a street you walk down it, you do your own thing, you're going to places, but then you see on music videos people that do stuff on the streets like throw bottles everywhere, trash it, and like vandalism, so other crimes like that. So that can influence other people as well.
And you do hear all these like news stories, particularly about like rappers or grime artists and stuff committing crimes. It could be down to their background though, that they sing about those lyrics, etc. And it could be, I think that it's like an ongoing cycle. So maybe, I'm not saying for all, but maybe some artists grew up in quite poor areas and somebody got them into that crime, um, and into that cycle. And I think that that gets passed on through generations in some cases.
Can I just expand on that and say that there's a grime artist known as Digger D. He's been given a ban on what he should rap about, so he's not allowed to rap about anything violent anymore because of his past and for the protection of himself, even though he's still committing crimes, doing it till this day.
Yeah, there's another artist like that in America called NLE Chopper, who I think he was given a ban on talking about weaponry as he because he was referencing it in all of his songs, and they were making it very uh disgusting, really, and not appropriate for anyone.
So I've got another question, moving on from that, and that is the girl in Reading. So today it got announced, today or yesterday it got announced what type of punishment she's getting. Do you think it was deserved and why? I'm not too sure on that, but I believe, Adam, you have more information on that. So could you just explain before we answer the
So
question?
I think the girl in Reading, well, it all started spiraling off after the girl. I'm not going to mention her name because of security reasons. She was sending nudes to another boy at the age of 13 while she was with um the boy Oliver Stevens, and when that spiraled out, she blocked um her boyfriend from the story, saying, "My boyfriend's annoying me. We've had an argument. I will pay you £564 if someone stabbed him up, but not enough to kill him." A stabbing is a stabbing, no matter what. I think she should be given a more of a longer hearing. For example, there are people in jail who've killed people and doing life in prison. She's got an extra crime on her record as well because she's got conspiracy to commit grievous bodily harm, murder, and perverting the course of justice, which is basically she was deleting messages off her phone so there's no proof that she could go to jail, and that's life imprisonment. But she never got given that.
So what did she get?
She got 5 years until she turns 18, and then when she turns 18, she gets another 18 years.
And then I believe there was another one involved that actually did the killing.
Yeah, he got 27 years.
All right, so going back to my question, it was, do you think that these punishments and these sentences were deserved and why?
I think he should be a bit more bigger.
Yeah, I think the given the severity of what actually happened and how big it got, definitely the sentence should be increased a lot because uh given their young age, first of all, they shouldn't be sending those kinds of pictures to each other because it's illegal. That's one thing. And then after it all spiraled out, and then seeing all the messages that were like spread around that went viral, from the girl saying that she didn't do anything wrong. Because on her Instagram, I saw people were messaging her, and she was getting really she was feeling attacked, and she said, "Stop attacking me because I feel harassed, and I'm gonna go to the police about it." But definitely, like, personally, I think those messages weren't they weren't inspired. They weren't to have a go at her to make her feel bad, but to make her more aware of what she's done, if you know what I mean. And I feel like the punishments they were given should be a lot longer because of everything that they have done. And her asking people and offering money to kill somebody is disgusting. Yeah.
Well, I've seen a
Okay,
lot. Go on, Adam.
okay. There's another question which I would like to ask. If people got longer jail sentences, do you think it would make people think twice about committing crimes, or do you think they would do it regardless?
I think I think the deterrence would keep them off it, so they won't be influenced to commit crimes. They'll be put off it, knowing that basically all their life will be taken away from them because of them making a stupid mistake, and then they won't have a life anymore. Really.
Yeah, I'd probably say something similar to that. To be honest, I think that it would still happen, but if there was longer sentences, maybe it'd be less. But who's to know unless it actually happens?
Yeah. The crime rate would decrease though because everything that does happen sometimes it always has a motive really, and if you're threatened with a longer sentence with your life being taken away from you, then you'll be put off it really, or most people will.
I have some statements about what the family have said about Ollie, like Ollie's family. So, in a statement which was issued by the police, Oliver's family described him as an enigma, and that he could get his own way with a very smile and a cheeky grin. So, as you can tell by that, he was a very nice person. Along with, it's affected their family a lot because they've also said he always stood his ground and fought for the underdog while having an amazing depth of love, warmth, and wit. And in the final moments, he must have been terrified. Fighting to get home, he had everything to live for. We now have only memories. An Ollie-sized hole had been left in our hearts. So he was really loved by his family.
Yeah.
So how would that have affected his family as a whole, like mentally and physically?
Losing someone is very hard on anyone because you have this whole relationship with them and then they're just gone straight away, and it's just like, especially because of this, and it was really sudden, and he didn't know it was going to happen to him, otherwise he wouldn't have gone and none of this would have happened. So they're like, his family must feel broken right now, and everyone feels sorry for them, and it's really disgusting to see because like no one deserves this, you know. And like mentally, they I feel like if I was in that position, if I was in his family, I'd feel very upset but angry as well because of something like this, because you'd think, why would somebody this innocent have to be put through something so horrible.
Yeah, to add on to that, I think that, as I said earlier, um, the it's not only Ollie's life that has been taken away; it's his parents, his families, his friends. It's had that knock-on effect, and I think that that is something that is truly heartbreaking, because not only is that, essentially, if you think about it metaphorically, not only is that person who killed Ollie, but they've destroyed their family, Ollie's family and friends as well. And
Definitely.
to be honest, I think that that is disgusting.
Um, do you think young people can truly be responsible for this, or do you think adults have some blame in any of this?
I would say it's 50-50 because, for example, some young people can get away with people stashing knives and them going to pick it up to stab someone. Because now it's like, just to get a knife, it can be a phone call away, it can be a text message away. Like, there are links people have on modern day technology just to get someone to stash a knife for them, just to go up and stab someone. But then again, adults need to be aware of what their kids are doing. What are their status on the streets when they're out, and are they actually carrying anything with them or not? There are ways like we need to get around this.
So I actually got this type of question asked to me when I did a Q&A for On Point the other day. And the question was, how responsible are adults for their children, or something along those lines? And I said that it depends on age and maturity. I think that, yes, parents definitely have responsibility for their children, and children and teens do look up to their parents and learn things from them. And I think if the parents are doing something that's wrong or bringing them up the wrong way, that definitely has an effect on how they're going to be. But at the same time, it varies between parents and the relationship between them and the children.
Yeah. Going off what you said, I also got asked the same question on the takeover, and I said something. It's all the same as you. So it's all about age and maturity, and like at our age, we're given more responsibility as we're growing up, and we can start working now, and we have more responsibility for ourselves, and our parents have less responsibility to look after us. And then when we turn like 18, or then moving on, and then we're 20 and we start moving out, then we have to be more responsible for ourselves, and our parents don't have that much responsibility over us.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that even when you are 18, 19, 20, I think that your parents should be on your should be on your side, and they should, if you present something to them, like, oh, I'm going to go into the life of trapping or something, you know what I mean? I feel that they can still be like, no, that's not a good idea, you shouldn't do that, and they should head you in the right direction, but also leaving you to do what you want to do. So it's kind of that in between, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Can I just say, the victim, Oliver Stevens, he was autistic as well. So that could have had an effect on his behavior when he found out his girlfriend was sending nudes to another boy.
Definitely.
Definitely. Going off the question we just asked, do you think, what do you think parents could do to better protect their children, in this generation?
It's quite a difficult one, to be
That's
honest.
very difficult.
Yeah. You could say a lot of things. So social media could have an effect. The internet could have an effect. Mixing with the wrong group could have an effect. And the way that, like, parents bring you up. I
Yeah.
think there's loads of factors that could have an effect on that.
I think, yeah, definitely everything that the parents allow their children to see can affect how what their children act like, especially at our age. So to better protect them, maybe as they're growing up, they can not introduce them to some things and maybe introduce them to other things. So instead of letting them go on social media at such a young age, maybe let them go to a club or something and do something that's like fundamental, instead of like being socially active and then learning all these new things about the world. And
Yeah, like,
yeah,
sorry.
that's
Um,
okay.
I don't know about you, but I didn't have a phone until I was like 11. But it seems like nowadays, like, younger teenagers, they're getting phones at, like, they've had phones for like 3 years. So a 13-year-old might have had a phone at 10 or 9. It's
Yeah,
getting crazy. And I think that could have a possible effect in general.
yeah. Um, do you think, going off the whole Reading case, do you think 13-year-olds should be in a relationship?
I think that ultimately, love is love, and it might not be love when you're 13. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
you're 13. But I think that that's a choice that should be made by the individual. I don't think that there shouldn't be in a relationship. But when things like this happen with the Reading incident, it does make you think. But people have different opinions on that, I find. I feel like a lot of people would say 13-year-olds shouldn't be in relationships. And I think you find that opinion where 13 shouldn't be allowed in relationships. I think that opinion comes from older people. Whereas my opinion as a younger individual. Like, I was in a relationship when I was 13. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's really that big of a deal. But when things like what's happened recently happen, it does definitely make you think.
Yeah.
I have another question. What support should be out like in the world to stop the next person being set up and like being stabbed?
What
Because
support?
we have been given, we are being educated in schools about knife crime, drugs, and gangs, but not everyone follows it.
Um, that's a hard one. If I was to say anything, I'd say maybe alternatives, and then because when we're being taught about it in school, we learn about what that stuff can do to you, like jail sentences and all that stuff. But all that stuff that's there to put you off it, to make sure that you don't do it, but people still do it anyways, despite knowing what could happen. So maybe instead of, like, obviously you still bring up everything that could happen, but maybe offer an alternative. So like promote other things like youth clubs, for example, or like hobbies for them to do instead of like going out in gangs and doing all that.
Can I just say that, do you think the police need more funding to like tackle this crime, like people carrying knives for like, for example, more stop and searches, more like more basically like technology to tackle crime in general?
I think that
Definitely.
um, I think that there's not much you can do really um, to stop it that the police or the companies or whatever haven't done. So I think that stop and searches do happen. Um, I think that you'll find that the police and other organisations, they go onto social media and they search through things. Um, but I feel like some funding wouldn't hurt at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe do that more than what is being.
Do you think can we trust the police?
That's a
Not
difficult one
entirely,
too.
not entirely, because if it does go to court, you will have to go to court with them for because you reported it. And for example, if it's your best friend you're trying to get out of carrying a knife, and they see you in court because you reported them, they you're going to be known as a snake, and they could get people on you to get you stabbed, or they might do it themselves. There's like it's really hard to
Right.
trust people these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if anyone was to report anyone, they'd be seen as a snitch and a snake and a grass, and there's all these different words. And I probably think that too. I wouldn't go out and report someone unless it was serious, and I was involved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of young people are probably afraid of being called them things because that can lead to repost and repost and repost. This person's a snitch, this person's a snitch, and that could lead to a different crime altogether. So they could get into a fight or they could get stabbed and I think that yeah, people are scared to report things and um, that is an issue really, but I don't think it can be resolved.
Yeah. I think I think trusting the police is very difficult because like everything that's been going on, especially last year with the whole Black Lives Matter thing and then the whole police brutality. So like police everywhere, they're different. So like there's more violence in like America than there is in the UK, well, statistically speaking. But yeah, everything you guys are saying about getting called a snake and then being threatened by that is definitely like it's a big part of it, whether we go to the police in general or not.
Yeah, I feel as well. Um, there's a stereotype of all police um, that dates back maybe around, well, forever really. I think that nobody really likes the police unless you police yourself, or do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
especially what happened last year with the whole police brutality and everything. I think that that did have a knock-on effect, and that police are more stereotyped now, and it's not good really. But nothing can be done to resolve that, I don't think, because it's people's opinions, and people get told not to like the police, and so forth and so forth, and this is stigma going around.
Can we go back on topic about the Reading stabbing, because there are a few more trials on this stabbing. There's a pre-trial hearing at the Reading Crown Court on the 4th of February, and a provisional trial date on the 21st of June in the same court to get updates about how have they been acting in the juvenile centre and what are the next steps they're going to take. So they might get early release. Do you think they should be released early, even though they've killed someone?
Personally, I think their sentence should be extended because of the severity, and like because is murder is taking somebody's life at the end of the day, and taking away years of your life isn't going to bring back what you've done. So reducing the sentence just sounds like it's stupid. Saying if you took someone's life, they'll never be able to live again, and then parts of like 18, 20 years of your life you just don't do anything, and then you come out and then you're free to live your life again. I don't think that should be allowed.
Yeah, it's definitely an unforgivable crime, as you said, taking someone's life, and I think that the people involved with the killing will reflect on it massively, and they'll have plenty of time to do so because they are getting jailed for a very long time. And it's a mistake on their half, even though they went out and organised it. It's still a mistake, and they should have known the consequences before they actually went and did it. But they did it. They're going to get all this time in prison, and hopefully when they get out, whether that be in 15 years, if the sentence is reduced, whether that be in 25 years or even longer, hopefully they'll come out and they'll try and better their life and be a better person and not make stupid decisions.
The UK law does say if you are good throughout your time in jail, you can get about a couple of years knocked off your sentence, which is, I don't think that's a good thing, because they can just behave in jail, get out, and cause another crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, the 13-year-old girl did get chased by a few people while she was out in town, and police are putting her in are giving her protective custody. Like, for example, they're trying to protect her while she's on bond at the moment, and she's going to be going to the detention center tomorrow.
Yeah, I've seen loads of things on social media.
Yeah.
So on Snapchat stories, I've seen people chase her. I've seen that, her mobile number's apparently been leaked.
And her address.
Her address.
Yeah, numbers, addresses. People have even leaked her nudes.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah. So she's done it to multiple boys as well, which is quite shocking. She's only 13.
But I feel like I think that someone told me that people are making fake accounts of her on like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Forth. I don't know whether that's for clout or what, but I think that's pretty disturbing.
I feel like people like those are just trying to stir the situation up even more, because they know that everyone knows about it and everyone obviously feels really strong about it, otherwise it wouldn't be everywhere. And they feel like making more accounts of the girl is just gonna cause more like entertainment for them, because if they think that that account is actually her, then obviously she's gonna get loads of hate messages and like loads of like threats maybe, and just use as entertainment. Trying to make it worse.
The people who are making fake accounts, they're getting more information off what has happened in the past with Oliver and the girl, like what they've been through, what's happened, what else has she done. That's very disturbing. Why do you want to find out more? We've got enough information to, for example, give her life imprisonment, but the government doesn't think right about that. The justice
Yeah,
system is pretty, yeah.
It just goes to show, because we are given information. The whole reason why uh it's even let out in public is to spread awareness for stuff like this. But then there's those people who try to take it into their own hands and like get involved, but like it doesn't have anything to do with us at the end of the day. Like we can all shed our light on it, but we can't do anything to change it.
yeah. Maybe people think they can by chasing her through town, like what's happened.
Yeah.
But at the
Along
end
with
of the
this,
day,
along
sorry.
with this, like there've been knife crime protests in the past, but we can't do that now because we're in a pandemic, in a national lockdown as we speak. So by the time this lockdown's over, everyone's gonna forget about it and not think about it.
Yeah.
Mm,
So this
yeah,
is
yeah,
this through like what we're doing now. This is the only way we can spread awareness on our opinions on and on like ideas on how we can stop it. Do you think the media presents an accurate picture of all youths and knife crime in the UK?
Obviously, when you're being told something or being showed something, it's not as deep as it would be if it was actually there. So like, if, like, for example, if you got stabbed, and then like a picture of your stab wound was like put online for awareness reasons, maybe, um people could be like, "Oh my days, that's like really bad." But then like the victim could be going through something like psychological trauma, and like something mentally. So I feel like the pictures, maybe it's not as accurate, but like it needs to be more deep, if you know what I mean, so more people can understand what it can actually do to people.
To summarise, I'd like to say that I think that most people think that knife crime is bad and know that knife crime is bad and are fully against it. But I think that some individuals, some people call them taps, some people who call them immoral, whatever. I think that they are the ones that are stirring it up, and they're the ones that are doing these things in the first place. And I think they're the ones that need to be educated more.
Well, thanks for listening. Let us know what do you think as an audience. My personal summary is they should have been given a longer sentencing than they already have.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with
agreed,
that.
agreed.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Thank you everyone for listening, and don't forget to follow OnPointWM on Instagram.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at OnPointWM and #ThriveCasters. Join us next time for more conversations that matter to you.